Okay. Sound was muted on this page. Okay. Okay. I'm in my room and I'm doing a live. I am going to do a ranking with you guys. I'm going to be doing a Disney tier ranking with you guys this last time on the last live I did. I what's it called? Hide. Oh my god, that's so annoying. Okay, so on the last live I did, I learned that I could screen share. And this literally has been on my mind to do a ranking for like the last 2 weeks, and I've had the itch to do a ranking for the last 2 weeks. Hi, Madison. Hi, Madison. Like all week this week, I was like, I need to go live. I need to go live. I need to go to live. I need to go live. And but then I was like, but it's kind of fun to have like a at the end of the month have like a live stream and just like catch up about like whatever's happened. Like the end of May, I literally did a catch up of like Taylor owns her masters. And now we're gonna rank the live action Disney movies because people might think I have controversial opinions. I Then there's like controversial remakes and like I just want to talk about them, especially after like How to Train Your even though this is a Disney. How to Train Your Dragon, I would give it like a 9 maybe of like a good live action remake. The only thing that like it hits different, like it's a pretty fantastic movie and like done shot for shot with like little changes that I didn't even pick up on like the first time I watched. And I only picked up on them through, like, reviews. Like, when I watched reviews, they were like, "Oh, yeah, this and this," and it's like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And then, my biggest issue with it is, like, the casting, and not necessarily, like, all the actors did a fantastic job. It's just it's not what we're used to. And a big thing that, like, this movie seems to, like, be doing is they don't like blondes. Like, I want to know what the issue with the blondes is because don't get me wrong, Nico Parker, which also she's in I think she was in Dumbo, she's, like, also in a Disney remake. So, little fun fact about her. She did amazing as Astrid, but it's still, like, the blonde. Like, why are we hating blondes for How to Train Your Dragon? The same thing with the twins. Like, why weren't the twins? First of all, I know twins don't have to look alike, especially like boy girl twins. Because like I have boy girl twin siblings, they don't look alike. But it's like they still had the line in the movie where it was like, even our own mother can't tell us apart, and it's like she really can't tell you guys apart. Like y'all don't look anything alike. They also weren't blonde, and it's like it's nothing against the actors, it's just like I personally have to get used to change, but it's still like if you guys were gonna change the casting, just like put some blondes in there. Like I really want to know what their fucking issue is with blondes. Like just tell me, like what was your issue about like I said, it's just like little things that I like nitpick at for like How to Train Your Dragon. But like other than that, like it's a pretty good movie. And I so wish I could like see it again in movie theaters. And if I was at school, then I would 100% take the bus and like go see it a second time. But like since I'm at home, I would have to like ask somebody to take me to the movies again to go see it again. And they're like, "Why do you need to see it 2 times?" And it's like because it's a good movie. But with like How to Train Your Dragon coming out and like Lilo and Stitch and Snow White and Mufasa and like all these live action remakes coming out, I kind of wanted to do like a live action ranking for the Disney movies because there hasn't been a lot of like other live action adaptations. of like other studios. So like it's just Disney. Um Now that I've like talked about that, Madison, anything going on with you? You've been quiet while I was yapping. So I just like anything going on with you? Okay. I don't know where I'm just gonna like randomly pick movies and just like place them on the tiers. S tier's top tier means like these are fantastic movies, no notes, they're amazing. A tier is like they're good, but they're not like worthy of the S tier. B is like I like them, but they're not my favorite. The same thing with C. Like I like these, but I don't know if I'm gonna like watch them if it's a movie I'll go to watch on like an everyday basis. And then D is like disaster, should not have been made, whatever. Also, I'm not gonna rank 101 Dalmatians, 102 Dalmatians, Peace Dragon, this Jungle Book, and then The Sorcerer's Apprentice. I haven't seen those 5 movies, so we're gonna rank Mulan through Maleficent. Madison, are you still watching? I asked you a question. If you hear barking, that's my dog downstairs. Oh, also, I was gonna say like I tried to. Like there's a lot of things I've tried, and it's just like I fail at a lot. But I'm tired too. I'm on day 6 of 8 of doubles at both. Oh no, Madison! No! If you guys know me, you guys know that like my first husband is Chris Evans, Sevens, or Captain America. My second husband is Sebastian Stan or Bucky Barnes. And I have a Winter Soldier jersey, just like I have a Captain America jersey. And I wore this when I went to Disneyland recently. And oh my god, what else? I met Alexi, who's the Red Guardian, and he saw my Bucky shirt and he was like, I'm gonna go tell Bucky that like you're wearing a shirt for him. And it was like that feels like this is like the Red Guardian was like everything and more. I was like with the limited characters and like my trips coming after the limited characters, I'm like always stressing of like, will I get to meet them before they leave? That's how I was with Deadpool and Wolverine. Like the movie came out in July last year and I didn't get to go until October. And so like I was really worried that Deadpool and Wolverine weren't going to be there when I went in October. And then they were there when I went again in November, so it was like, "Okay, thank God." Like, I got to see Deadpool twice, and I got to see Wolverine once. It was amazing. And then when after Thunderbolts came out, I was, like, kind of worried that, like, the Red Guardian wasn't gonna be there when I went. And then thank God when I did go, he was still there. So it was like, thank God. I also got to meet, like, the fairies from Tinkerbell and, like, friends from Tinkerbell's movies. I got to do, like, a lot of cool things. It was weird having, like, the first day and a half to myself because, like, I've never done, like, a solo trip before. I've had, like, a solo morning to myself because one of my friends had to do, like, homework. So, like, I've had, like, a solo morning to myself, I've just never had, like, a solo trip to myself, which was insane. Um, yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna pick a random movie because I feel like if I go in order, it might not be that fun, so I'm just gonna pick, like, a random movie out of here, and, we're gonna go from there because why not? I feel like we should start with Stitch just because that's the most recent live action Disney live action movie. So, we're gonna go with Stitch, and I'm gonna put Stitch in the slick but why. And I feel like since Stitch has, like, the most, like, recent memory in my brain, it's a good standalone film where if you haven't seen the animated stuff, like the animated movies and, like, the TV show, you wouldn't know the lore behind it, and so, like, if a seven-year-old wanted to see the movie, they would really enjoy this movie. But as somebody who knows the lore of the first movie, I'm gonna say spoilers because it only came out last month, but I'm still gonna, like, freely talk about it because it came out, like, over a month ago. Um, is that, like, I didn't like what they did with Jumba's role. They made Jumba the villain because they had to replace the emptiness that, like, Captain Gantu wasn't there. Like, Captain Gantu was, like, the bad guy in the first movie, and, like, Pleakley and Jumba, like, they were the bad guys in, like, the beginning of the film, and then they just kinda, like, sat back and, like, was, like, watching Stitch throughout the movie, and then they became Ohana at the end of the movie. And in this live action movie, they got rid of that Ohana. They destroyed Lilo and Nani's relationship, like, Nani in the animated movie would have never, ever, ever let Lilo go. Never, ever, ever let Lilo go. And the fact like, I get I get the message of, like, you shouldn't have to let go of your dreams to take care of, like, a child, but it's still, like, if they were going to have Nani go off to college, they should have made it more of a big deal than just, like, 2 or 3 mentions. Like, they should have had Nani want to go to college or, like, "I can't go because I have to take care of Lilo." Like, there should have been more mention of her wanting to go to college or not wanting to go to take care of Lilo. Like, there should have been more mention of it. And, like, I get that, like, this was supposed to be, like, a TV show at first, or not a TV show, this was supposed to be, like, a Disney Plus movie, and then it got made for the big screen, and so maybe the budget was different, they didn't have enough money to make Captain Gantu for the movie, and so they had to replace his role and make Jumba more evil, but it was like, I really hope that, like, if a sequel happens, which really think it will happen, that they bring Captain like, they see the want and the need for Captain Gantu in the second movie, and they bring him in. Like, I really hope they have the money to bring Captain Gantu in for the movie. And also, like, with introducing Tutu, all the characters got sidelined. All the characters got sidelined. Like, Lilo and Stitch still had, like, the prominent role, but, like, with bringing Tutu in and having her as, like, a surrogate grandma, Nani and Lilo's relationship got sidelined. Like, Nani was the one that was supposed to take Lilo to the pound to go get Stitch because she wanted Lilo to have a friend. And then Lilo was also supposed to have, like, the $2 to get the adoption paper and, like, all of that, and just and then, like, adoption paper was supposed to have, like, a hand at the end of the movie, and, like, it didn't have a hand at the end of the movie. It was just like there was so much like I said, it's a good standalone film where you don't if you haven't seen what happened before, you're not gonna know what's missing, but as someone that does have that tainted nostalgia perspective, it's not A level. I feel like if it had all those elements that the animated movie had, it could even be top tier. But because, like because of, like, um because of what I know, it's not as good as it should have been, in my opinion. And, like, with going with the recency bias, I feel like our next one should be Snow White, because that's the second most recent one. And I feel like it's totally misguided. Like, it's a totally misguided live action film. Like, hold on. I'm texting someone to let out the dogs. Let out the dogs. Because I can hear them from my room with my door closed and with me yapping. But so the second one is Snow White, and it's totally misguided. Like, I feel like out of all the 3 animated Snow Whites, or not animated, live action Snow Whites that have come out, at least the 3 I've seen and heard of, this is the most true to the animated. The other one, like the one with Kristen Stewart, was like more gritty and there wasn't that like colorful aspect to it. And then the one with like Julia Roberts, I don't know, is it Lily Collins or like Anne Hathaway? Like it's one of those two. One of those two that has like snow as white as skin or skin as white as snow. One of those two. Um that still like it was more colorful, but it still was like missing like the animated tone for it. Like Snow White, the one with Rachel Zegler, it was so much more true to the animated movie. Like they had the songs. Like I really missed the songs in the other Snow White adaptations. Really missed the songs in the other Snow White adaptations. And so I was glad to like get the songs back into this movie. Waiting for a Wish or Waiting on a Wish is like such a banger and I really love it. And I get the whole controversy aspect with like why are we casting Rachel Zegler who's a person of color for like it's literally the tone the theme the line for Snow White is like skin as white as snow and she's a person of color. And it's like, how are we going to fit that aspect into the live action? And like, I feel like they shouldn't have casted Rachel Zegler as Snow White because of that line. Like, they kind of try to make up for it by saying she was born in like the harshness of winter, so they named her Snow White. And they tried to make up for that casting choice, but like they didn't. And it's one thing to add people of color to roles, but it's another thing where it's like I get their anime movies and like we shouldn't care this much, but it's still like make a role for a Latina princess. Make a role, make a princess for that character. You know what I'm saying? And there's also like the controversy of like the dwarves and like how Peter Dinklage was like talking about how it shouldn't be called dwarves or so I don't remember like the whole controversy with like Peter Dinklage and this movie and like they added them in digitally and like then Dopey was speaking and like Dopey didn't speak in the animated movie and there's just like all this controversy with this movie. And it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not as good as like the movies that I'm going to put in S tier or A tier or even B tier, but it gets way more hate than it should have, is what I'm trying to say. Like, Snow White isn't that bad. And then the next movie I'm going to do is Mufasa. Like, we're doing the 3 most recent, and then we're gonna do, just, like, other orders. Mufasa is gonna go is gonna go right in front of Stitch, because Mufasa picked up what the, uh, the the Lion King didn't do. The Lion King, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I will talk more in depth with, like, when I rank The Lion King, but, like, The Lion King was, like, a shot for shot retelling of, like, the animated movie. I loved Mufasa solely for the fact that we got to learn about Mufasa and Simba. Not Simba, and Scar. Like, we got to learn about Mufasa and Scar. And I love getting a villain backstory and, like, learning how they became the villain because once again, I mean, this came out in, like, December. So, like, spoilers, I guess, but, like, it's been 6 months, like, get over it. Scar is evil because Mufasa took his girl. Like, that's it. Like, that's the story. But it's still, like, we got to see that brother bond, and we got to see that, like, the hint of, like, jealousy because Mufasa wasn't Scar's dad or his actual, like, brother. Like, they're, like, adopted brothers. Like, they family isn't always blood connection, is what I'm trying to say. And we see, like, Mufasa, like, step back so Scar could, like, be with the girl, but then, like, the girl I don't remember the girl's name, the girl lion's name. And, um, what's it called? But then, like, the girl sees that, like, Mufasa stepping back and she wants to be with him, and then, like, Scar oversees that, and, like, I also don't remember Scar's, like, real name. Like, Scar isn't his actual name, that's not the name he was born with. Scar is a name he picked up on when he got his scar. And even though Scar is the bad guy, we still see that, like, even though after Mufasa betrayed Scar and then Scar went evil, we still got to see that brother bond. Like, we still saw Scar save Mufasa. Like, we still got to see that brother bond. And Mufasa kept Scar in the Pride Lands because he was his brother, but he didn't want to call him his original name. He called him Scar because he didn't. Yeah, Mufasa did what the Lion King couldn't do. The only thing about Mufasa I didn't really like is how it felt like Lion King 1.5 meets a prequel. If you know what I'm Disney fans, if you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. Mufasa, it was basically like Timon and Pumbaa telling their story for, like, Lion King 1.5, but, like, Rafiki telling the story of Mufasa and Scar to Simba and Nala's kid. That's it. Like, I and then there were interruptions. I feel like if there weren't those interruptions to the story, it could have been, like, A level, but instead it's just B level. Like, it's still a good movie. I feel like I'm not as annoyed with it as I was with Lilo and Stitch, but it's still a good movie. I've yapped for 23 minutes and I'm only 3 movies in. But it's that's because, like, these are the most recent movies. So, like, I have, like, a lot to say about it. Whereas I feel like if I get to, like, Peter Pan and Wendy and, like, Christopher Robin and Dumbo and, like, Pinocchio, I don't remember as much because, like, they're all, like, dull movies. Like, there's not much I remember about them. Also, I can see I'm lagging. Madison, am I lagging? Because, like, when I'm, like, I can see myself in, like, the corner, I can see my hands are, like, lagging a little bit. Um, I can also feel my computer getting hot. Okay, so I feel like since we have, like, a B and a C, I feel like we should just put The Lion King in D. Like, since we're talking about Mufasa, I feel like we should talk about The Lion King because they go hand in hand with each other. And The Lion King is such a bad movie. I I'm sound like such a hypocrite where it's like, don't change the movie, but then it's like, if you do change a movie, the change needs to be done well. And The Lion King doesn't fall into, like, it's a movie that didn't change anything except for adding a song for Beyoncé. Like, that's it. Like, that's literally it. I get your Beyoncé, but, like, what are we doing? They almost took "Be Prepared" out, Scar's song, to add in Beyoncé's song. Like, I'm sorry, hello? Like, why are we taking out "Be Prepared"? What are you doing? Sorry, I still hear the dogs barking, so I'm, like, texting people downstairs, like, "Let them out." I do have to go for a bit, though. I'll come back when I can. If not, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great rest of your day too, Madison. But, like, The Lion King, like, I'm gonna sound like such a hypocrite when I have, like, where I place Maleficent and Cruella, where it's like, or not Maleficent and Cruella. Um, I don't know what I was talking about. I got kinda distracted. Um, but yeah. So, Lion King is definitely bottom tier. And I feel like since we have one for, like, the 3 bottom tiers, we should definitely place one in the good tier. And a movie that goes into the good tier is Cinderella. Cinderella is, like, a movie that, like, Cinderella is a movie that added little changes that worked. We got to see Cinderella's mother. We got to see what happened to her. We got to see what happened to her dad and, like, how her stepmother came into the family. We got to see her actually meet the prince before the ball. Like, the little changes that were added to the movie were so fantastically done. The color was so beautiful in the movie. It's not a movie that got dulled by, like, muted colors. And the casting was perfect. I just This movie was done so well where it didn't feel like characters were sidelined. The changes weren't overdone or underdone. Um, the one thing that I missed about Cinderella is, like, the animals talking. Like, we didn't get to see that cartoonish aspect to the movie of, like, the animals. Like, we didn't get to see Gus Gus and, like, Jack and, like, Lucifer all interacting, and, like, there's just, like, the little nuanced scenes where it was like, I get things have to get changed for the live action adaptation, but it's like you still could have added, like, the little animated aspects to the movie. And I feel like if you would have added, like, the little animated aspects to the movie, it could have quite possibly been the S tier. And, like, let's do another movie. I mean, obviously, we're gonna do another movie. Um, should we do an S tier? I feel like we should do an S tier. I feel like we should do an S tier. Like, if you know me, you know I love Maleficent. You know I love, love, love Maleficent. I Maleficent is, like, my favorite animated retelling into a live action. And I love a good spin on the villain. I love getting backstory on the villain, and I love when that villain's not a villain. We get to see the anti-hero aspect to it. Because in the animated movies, we didn't really have time to tell how the villain became a villain, but with having the live actions, we get more time and we get to see more of like the hero's family and we get to see like how the villain became a villain. And Maleficent does what Mufasa fell flat with. Maleficent, a lot of people don't consider this a remake because it focuses on the villain, but I still consider it a remake. And it is fantastically done. I loved Angelina Jolie. I loved how they had her daughter play one of the younger Auroras because all the other kids were scared of Maleficent with her horns, but like her daughter was just like, that's mom. And so like she got to play it. I also love like the mother daughter between like Maleficent and Aurora. Like Maleficent was more of a mother than like oh than Aurora's actually mother was. And I also loved how like her and Stefan had like a history and like I we got to see that pure and young innocence in Stefan before he got corrupted by the outside world. We got to see Maleficent have a heart, and we got to see that she was a fairy. She was a fairy. Sorry, the TikTok audio was stuck in my head. We got to see like she was a fairy, and now she's like a wingless fairy because Stefan took her wings. And I just love that. But then it was like Stefan betrayed her and he took her wings. He took the innocence with her. He scorned her and like that played into a part of like why Maleficent wasn't invited to the christening for Aurora and like he became paranoid of like when Maleficent was going to come and like they gave Aurora away to keep her safe, but then it was like when she came back, he didn't want to have her as a daughter. We got to see Stefan be the villain rather than like Maleficent be the villain. And I liked how like the true love isn't a prince saving you. We don't always need a prince to save us, but it's still nice to know that like we have that love for us. Cause like in the animated movie, like she met him what once? Well, she was dancing in the forest, and then she became comatose, and then he saved her. Like I liked seeing how like Maleficent was like always there, like in the shadows for Aurora, and she was the true love that Aurora needed to be awoken. Maleficent is just a top tier movie. It's a top tier movie. Um, I feel like we should balance it out from like a top tier movie to another disaster movie. I feel like that would only be fair. And you know, a movie that's going in the disaster? Aladdin. I hated the Aladdin live action remake. I hated it so much. It felt like, number one, you can never replace Robin Williams as a genie. You can never replace him as a genie. And I also hated the aspects of the hip hop aspect that they added to like Friend Like Me and like Prince Ali. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, I get like Will has like a history in like hip hop, but it's still like, don't change classic songs into different songs. Like, what are we doing? um, and it just ruined it. And then why why did the genie need a love interest? I love Dahlia, but it was I think that's her name. Um Jasmine's handmaid. Like I loved her, but it was still like why did we need the genie to have a love interest? But I also liked like one of the things I did like about this movie is how we got more scenes between Aladdin and Jasmine. We had the whole like dance scene more like they were like dancing together, but then it was like Genie was trying too hard for Aladdin that like he the impression wasn't good. And so it came off as egotistical and like he was showing off and like I love that. But then it was like the street rat aspect where it was like street rat is supposed to be I'm lagging again. I'm lagging. I really hope that this doesn't lag when this goes live. Um like the street rat was supposed to happen before he met Jasmine. The street rat sequence wasn't supposed to be happening when he was with Jasmine. Like we have more time. Why are we constraining Aladdin's time? Like this is literally his movie into having his song be with Jasmine. This movie also felt like forced feminism. Where it was like I get we want our women to stand up for themselves, but the whole speechless song just felt forced and it didn't feel natural. And like I get like all these like actresses like want their characters to not like be their damsel in distress where it was like let's give Jasmine where she wants to be sultan. Like she didn't like in the animated movie she didn't necessarily have that I want to her, but she still knew that she wasn't a prize to be won. Like she still knew what she wanted. She just didn't want to be sultan. And that whole even though it was subtle, it still felt forced. And then the whole like why didn't Scar turn into Jafar turn into like a snake at the end of the movie? Why are we making Iago a big bird? And like why are we trying to like seduct Jafar with Jasmine? Like that whole Aladdin it had like I said, I'm gonna sound like such a hypocrite where it's like I need the movie to have change, like Maleficent, but then if you do change like Aladdin, it's gonna fall flat if you get what I'm saying. Like there was like too much change where the people who grew up and loved the animated movie felt like they didn't have a connection to the live action movie. If you get what I'm trying to say. Another one, where should we go from here? I feel like we should do another totally misguided movie. Let's do The Jungle Book for totally misguided. I'm only I'm only on my 8th movie and I've been talking for like 37 minutes. The Jungle Book. I loved the animated Jungle Book. It was always a deep love for me. My mom my mom was like my mom considered me like a little Mowgli as I was growing up. And maybe this should go in slick, but why? Cuz I don't necessarily have like I don't think it's like a totally misguided movie. I just think maybe 'cause I don't really remember much about this movie. I just know, like, Mowgli was, like, abandoned by his parents in the jungle. Um, what's the jaguar's name? What's Jaguar, Black Panther? What is it? Let's look it up. Jungle Book. 'Cause I know Baloo, I know Kai, I know, um, just tell me their names, like, the actors' names. Shere Khan. Oh, Jon Favreau was in this. Interesting. Um I just wanna know, like, their names. Can you show me their names? Baghe Bagheera. The Black Panther, like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I know, like, he became, like, the surrogate father to Mowgli, and, like, he cared about Mowgli. And then, like, Mowgli has this moment with Baloo where it's the bare necessities, and then, like, King Lu like, the whole I just feel like a lot of the live action remakes dull the color. They don't put the color into the movie. And I feel like that was a huge thing with the Jungle Book. The colors felt muted. They had a chance to add like the green aspect and like all like the jungle looks to it. And like I get it's a jungle, like there are darker aspects, but you could still lighten it up for us to watch. Because sometimes I want to watch a movie in the dark time and like my brightness could be all the way up and it's still not bright enough for me to see everything that's happening on screen. Um, like King Louis and like I want to be like you, ooh, ooh. I want to talk like you, walk like you. Um, like it felt muted, and I don't know. I'm kind of teetering between like having it in the B tier and having it in the C tier because I don't think it's totally misguided, but I don't think it's like B level material. Is what I'm trying to get at. What do we want to do next? Let's do Alice in Wonderland. And that's going in the A tier, baby. Alice in Wonderland, I this Alice in Wonder like granted it's Tim Burton, so like it's gonna be darker and like it's gonna the animated um Snow White, not Snow White. Alice in Wonderland is how long? Let's see how long the animated Alice in Wonderland is. It's an hour and 13 minutes. And then the 2010 one is an hour and 48 minutes. So about like 30 minutes got added to the movie because that's what happens when you go from like a live action or an animated to a live action, you have more time. And they gave instead of just making Wonderland this silly place, they gave it more of a purpose and like why is Alice visiting? And they had Johnny Depp, and, like, I'm a sucker for Johnny Depp. Like, he was my husband long before Chris Evans and Sebastian Stan were my husbands. If you know me, he was, like, my first husband. I named my fishes after him. One of my fishes were named Jack Sparrow or Captain Jack Sparrow, and then another one was, like, named Johnny Depp. So, like, I love Johnny Depp. And I freaked out when I met Jack Sparrow at Disneyland when I was just there last week. I freaked out when I met Jack. My God, you guys. um, and we also have Anne Hathaway in this and Johnny Depp and it's another girl in a blue dress. It's another white girl, white in a blue dress. And Tim Burton did a good job of like putting a purpose on Alice and on the movie. And whereas the animated was just like all this like silly fun and like why is Alice in Wonderland? But like I said, Tim gave it more purpose. And I feel like I give this like an A minus, like a 90% because of like Johnny Depp has it high. Um what else? I have my own reasons why I have a little bias for Alice in Wonderland. But like I don't know. It does what the other movies were trying to do. Let's do another totally misguided movie. Totally misguided. Let's go for this might be controversial. This might be controversial. We're gonna do The Little Mermaid. And it's not because Ariel's actor isn't white. It's because it felt like another forced feminism. And I get we want the princesses to have more of a purpose than to be with the prince, but there's a way to do that, like in Maleficent, and then there's a way to not do that, which is like Aladdin. And with The Little Mermaid, one of my biggest issues is like the end of the movie where Ariel like saves herself because she already or saved Eric. Like she saved Eric again. Eric was supposed like Ariel had her moment in the beginning of the movie and Eric was supposed to have his moment at the end of the movie. He was supposed to save Ariel at the end of the movie. He was supposed to drive that ship into Ursula. And yet Ariel did that. And like I know I'm going to be like I it seems like I hate women and like I hate feminism and it's like I want a new princess to have a feminist outlook on the world. Like Merida and like Moana and like Elsa and Anna where it's like Anna even though it seemed like Anna wanted a prince, it's not what saved her. Her sister is what saved her. And like those movies do it well with like having feminism and like that. But then it's like you have movies where it feels like it's forced upon you, like The Little Mermaid and Aladdin. I'm lagging. Oh my god. How hot is my computer? Okay, it's not that hot. I just didn't like the forced aspect to it. I did like how there was a little trick on top of the Ariel signing the contract. Like Ursula put in like a another little element into it where Ariel wouldn't remember that she has a timeline to kiss Eric or that she has to kiss Eric in like 3 days. Like Sebastian and Scuttle are there to help her. And I love that little twist. Like that's how you do a twist good. I also love seeing Jodie Benson in this movie where she literally passed the dingle hopper to Hallie and it was a nice way to like pass on the baton from like one Ariel to another Ariel. I love that. I loved her song for the first time, even though it literally just seems like another I Want song, like Part of Your World. It's a literally like Part of Your World is like this is what I wonder about the real world. And then like when she's in like not the real world, in like the human world, and like when she is in the human world, it's like, oh, there's still more stuff I wonder. It just seems like a part two rather than like adding something to the movie. And it's like I get like Hallie's a singer and like they wanted to add another song for her, especially since she isn't talking in a lot of the movie. They wanted to add another song for her. And for the first time it's a banger. But like The Little Mermaid is another movie that also takes out characters. In the animated Little Mermaid, they had a character that was a chef. And the chef and Sebastian were supposed to have banter. The chef was supposed to constantly want to like make Sebastian into food. And they're supposed to have this like banter. Like that's what it has in the animated movie. And then when the live action happened, they didn't have the chef in there. Got rid of the chef. And yeah. They also like gave Eric more of a they developed Eric more. They gave him a song and they gave him like why he wants to chart the waters and his mom doesn't want him to go and like it's we see a blended family. Like this movie has like blended families. We see the animated Little Mermaid and we see how it's just how Triton has just white daughters, but then he is the king of the 7 seas, and so it makes sense to have his daughters not all look alike. They're still his daughters, but they don't have to necessarily look alike. And the same thing with, like, Eric and his mom. His mom is a person of color, but they still blend this beautiful family together. And there was another thing. Oh, like, the big ending, like, I hate how they changed, like, the endings of movie. Like, on top of, like, Ariel saving Eric a second time, they also took Ariel's moment of, like, getting out the water and, like, coming out in that sparkly dress. Like, she literally just walked on land. Well, not, like, we didn't see her, like, walk on land, but, like, she literally walked and, like, "Surprise, I'm human again" to Eric, but, like, in the animated movie, like, you're telling me you couldn't get Hallie a sparkly dress as she's coming out of the water? Like, what are take a drink of water every time I say, "What are we doing?" Because, like, for the most part, I have movies that I really, really love for these live actions, but then it's like a lot of them just frustrate me, and it's like, take a drink of water every time I say, "What are we doing?" 'Cause it's funny. 'Cause I know I'm saying that a lot. Um, let's do another totally misguided movie. What is another movie that I shall place in the misguided movie? Let's do Lady and the Tramp. A lot of the movies, like Snow White and The Little Mermaid, I have, like, a purpose for putting them there, but for, like, Lady and the Tramp, it's just a movie. It's not that it's totally misguided, it's just I don't really remember a lot of what happened in the movie. And I've seen it, like, a couple times, I've seen all of these movies, like, a couple times. Well, Mufasa, Lilo and Stitch, and Snow White I've only seen, like, once. But, like, the rest of them I've seen a couple times, and with all the other movies, I always have, like, something to take away, but with, like, Lady and the Tramp, since it was just, like, a Disney Plus release, I don't remember much of, like, what happened and, like, was it a shot for shot remake or, like, did they add changes that didn't work well or that did work well? It's just I don't really remember much about Lady and the Tramp. I do know the actress that, like, owned Lady, the one that was pregnant with the baby. She was in Austin and Ally, if I'm not mistaken. I believe she was Kira in Austin and Ally, which, like, I love when I, like I love when I can recognize an actor from, like, a different project. Um, that's all I really have to say about, like, Dumbo. Like, I feel like if I created a tier, I would do, like, S tier, good, um, I like it, I like it, uh, totally misguided. D would be not memorable, and then F would be, like, disaster. And so, like, for the not memorable, I'd put, like, Lady and the Tramp there, and I'd also put, like, Christopher Robin there. Like, Lady and the Tramp and Christopher Robin aren't bad movies, they're just not memorable movies. Same thing with Peter Pan and Dumbo and Pinocchio. Like, I'm just gonna all put these right here. 'Cause, like, I don't really remember anything from the movies. I didn't know Cynthia Erivo was in Pinocchio until, like, after Wicked came out. And then Nico Parker was in Dumbo, who played Astrid in How to Train Your Dragon. And they added more, like, humans to Dumbo, so it wouldn't just be focused on, like, Dumbo. Peter Pan and Wendy, we get more development on Hook and, like, Peter Pan and, like, what happened between them, and all that. Christopher Robin. We see him go back to his childhood and like go visit Winnie and his friends. And like all those movies, just because I put them in like the totally misguided doesn't mean they're misguided. It just means I don't remember a lot from those movies. I'm trying to think of like what movie I should do next. Let's do Beauty and the Beast as the next movie. I see a lot of people not like Beauty and the Beast, and there's just something about it that like that I like. It adds the feminine it adds it adds the feminism in there ever so I can never say the word. Subtly? I can never say that word. It adds it in there ever so like where it's not noticeable and where it doesn't seem like forced feminism. Um we get to see like what happens to Belle's mom and like we get more in depth of like these characters that we got to fall in love with in the animated movie. And I just wish that like a lot of the like I get Disney wants to like focus on like new stories as well as like remaking movies, but it's like I want a sequel to like Beauty and the Beast. Like there's a sequel for it in the animated, so like why can't we bring that to live action? And I loved Emma Stone's dress. I loved her dress. I love how we got one of our first representations in a Disney movie of LeFou, even though it was like subtle and like nobody could really pick up on it, but LeFou had feelings for Gaston. And then at the end of the movie, we got to like, it was like, oh, he's just looking at a guy. Like it was like, no, like you could tell that like LeFou had like he wasn't straight. Like that's for sure. He was not straight. And it's like, oh, that okay, so this is what was gonna happen. I don't think it's happening anymore, but like there was supposed to be like a Gaston movie or like a Gaston TV show or like something like that. Like there was supposed to be something for Gaston. I don't remember what happened to it, but there was supposed to be something for Gaston. So Luke Evans' spinoff as Gaston is postponed indefinitely. Despite initial enthusiasm and significant developments, the Luke Evans Gaston spinoff was unexpectedly postponed indefinitely, just days after key casting announcements. This sudden shift, attributed to creative and scheduling conflicts, left fans puzzled. So that's what happened to it. Because I knew there was something for Gaston. I knew there was something for him. And I knew there was like another project for Beauty and the Beast. It wasn't a sequel to the movie. Luca Evans has a sad new update on the Gaston Center. Okay, so playing the Sorry, I'm, like, reading and, like, I don't know if you guys are interested in, like, me reading this out loud. But yeah, it just it didn't go with the room. Now would you look at this? We only have 4 more we're gonna rank. Which one should I harp on next? Since I'm saying harp on, I might as well talk about Mulan. That is the final movie that is going in the disaster tier. Because even though I praise Maleficent for doing change, Mulan does not do the change well. It got rid of too many elements, tried like let's just name like the people that were missing from the Mulan movie. Like you got rid of Mushu, you got rid of the cricket, you got rid of the grandma, and you got rid of Li Shang, and you added a sister, and you got rid of the songs, and like how do you have Mulan without I'll make a man out of you? How? I don't understand it. How do you have Mulan without our Bai King, Mr. Li Shang? Like you're telling me that man straight, bro, he was looking at Mulan when she was a guy. Be for real. Like our like Disney, the fact that Disney got rid of our Bai King just makes me so mad. And then they added like this phoenix to the story and it they just they changed too much. And if this would have been released in theaters, this would have bombed so hard. Like so hard. It would not have done well in theaters at all. It sucked. Like I the first time I watched it, I fell asleep. And I didn't watch it for years. I think the first time I rewatched it was last year. Cuz last year I was doing this thing where I tried doing like one movie a day and I watched if I watched the Disney animated movie and it had a live action, I would do like the Disney I would do the animated and the live action. And I rewatched this movie and it's just like it felt so dull. Like Lee Shang wasn't there. Were the guys even in this movie? I don't think the guys were even in this movie. Like in the D tier, we have like the Lion King, which did no change except for add spirit, and then we have Mulan, which did too much change, and it wasn't good at all. And like one of my favorite YouTubers, bless her soul, because I love her. Her favorite movie, like one of her favorite live actions is like Mulan, and it's like, how is it one of your favorite movies? Like, it's not a good movie. It's absolutely not a good movie. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Um, there's just so much wrong about this movie that like I don't even want to get started about like what's wrong with this movie. If you want me to talk about Mulan and like what's wrong with the movie, let me know in the comments down below. That way, like if I see there's push for it, I can maybe do like a spontaneous live and just like talk about how bad Mulan is with you guys because I would love to do that. Okay, so since we're talking about a bad movie, why don't we do a good movie and why don't we talk about Cruella? I loved Cruella. I love Emma Stone. I love Emma Stone and I love Cruella. Emma Stone dying in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Oh my god, you guys. I knew what happened, but I hadn't watched the movie until like what? Like what was it? Like 2022? 2023. I don't know. One of those years. I didn't watch the movie until after No Way Home came out. And so, like, even though I knew what happened and, like, how significant Andrew's Spider-Man was with catching Zendaya's MJ, I just didn't see that scene in the movie until, like, it actually happened, and, like, I was crying when I saw it happen. But enough about Marvel. Maybe that's another video I could do, like, another live, I can rank the Marvel movies. That just means I need to rewatch them because I don't have strong opinions like this. I 'Cause there's so many Marvel movies. Um, so Cruella is another movie that, like, we get to see how she became Cruella, but also, like, making her an anti-hero. As she grew up, she was Estella, and she was this girl that was just troubled, and, like, because of her, her mom died. I say in quotes because it wasn't her mom. The the Duchess, or I don't know what her name was, the Countess, something like that, was actually her mom, and that kind of explains, like, the bad nature in Estella. And Estella worked at the bottom and, like, she got her way to the top. And as she was working her way on as she was on the bottom, she was doing, like, these, like, heist with Horace and Jasper, and we got to see their bond grow. But then, like, with this version of Cruella, she's not necessarily the villain we know in the animated movies. Like, Maleficent isn't the villain we see. She doesn't hate what Dalmatians. She has an appreciation for them and she holds them to a standard. And we get to find out who Estella essentially dies and has her alter ego Cruella live on. And we get to find out, like, who her dad is and, like, her actual mom is, and we get to see, like, Cruella work alongside with Horace and Jasper. We get to see, like, the fashion aspect. Oh my god. The fashion aspect for this movie, chef's kiss, like, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. I don't know if my friend watches my YouTube videos anymore, but, like, chef's kiss. She watches it, she'll know why I did this. Um, yeah, Cruella is just, like, top tier along with Maleficent. I am a sucker for I don't believe every villain needs to be turned into an anti-hero, but, like, it's good that we're redeeming women and we're not just having them deemed as the villain. Because if you look at a lot of, like, the old Disney movies that came out in, like, the 1900s, we have the villains are women. In Snow White, it's the evil queen. In Cinderella, it's the step family. In Sleeping Beauty, it's Maleficent. In Ariel, it's Ursula. In what else? Like, in Tangled, it's Mother Gothel. And, like, we just see these women painted as villains, and so, like, it's nice that, like, they're redeeming the women in ways. I see somebody has joined. Hello to oh. Right as I see someone has joined, they leave. Okay. I see how it is. You didn't like how I was talking about women. I see how it is. Um, we are going to do Alice, and it is gonna go right here. The second Alice in Wonderland, even though I loved getting the backstory of, like, how the Queen of Hearts, like, got her head shape, and, like, we got to see, like, the White Queen and the Queen of Hearts, like, they're sisters. And I love a good backstory, as you've heard. Like, I love Maleficent, I love Cruella, and we get to see more color in this Alice in Wonderland. I just didn't really love what they did with the Mad Hatter. Like, that's, like, my biggest issue with Alice, the second with Through the Looking Glass. I feel like if they did the Mad Hatter more justice, it would be in, like, the good tier along with the first Alice, but since it's not, since they did, like, the Mad Hatter kinda dirty, that's why he's in the B tier. And then the last one is the second Maleficent that is also going in the B tier. It's going right next to Alice and Stitch. And hi to whoever's watching. It's like every time I notice the person watching, they just leave. Um I have like the same opinions of Maleficent, the Mistress of Evil, like I did with like Alistair the Looking Glass. Even though we got to see like more fairies and we got to see like Maleficent find another family, it just felt like a restart. Like, why did we have to have Prince Philip's mom be the evil one? Why did we have to see Maleficent be painted as the evil one again? You're telling me Aurora didn't believe Maleficent didn't kill Philip's dad? Like, you're after all they went through in the first one, you're telling me Aurora didn't believe that. Like, just I and one of the things I did like about the movie though was like they kept Aurora's femininity and Elle Fanning, I believe it's Elle Fanning. Dakota Fanning was Twilight, Elle Fanning was Maleficent. Um, an interview I just watched of like Elle Fanning talk about Aurora is that like she said a lot of the times like with the sequels we see the heroines be they put on the armor and like they fight for what they want, but like there's also beauty in like there's also like fighting for what you want and like the femininity. Like you don't necessarily need to hold a sword to know that you want to fight for something. If you know you want it, like you don't necessarily need to um have a sword to fight for it. Like I'm someone that's like I'm like Brittany as I'm watching like Santana and Quinn fight. I'm like, stop the violence. Where it's like I'm not a violent person. And so like I have that like femininity in me where it's like I for the most part I know what I want and like I will fight for it. But like I don't need like a sword in my hand to fight for what I want. So like I love that like Aurora still kept her like gracefulness and like her femininity and like stuff like that. But once again, like Alice, it's like I hate how they did one of the characters in the second movie. And if they didn't do that character dirty, I feel like it would be higher. Like it would they would both be in the good tier. But yeah, that's like I told you guys I'm not going to be ranking the other 100 I'm not going to be ranking the 101 and 2 Dalmatians, Pete's Dragon, the other Jungle Book or the Sorcerer's Apprentice. I haven't seen those, so like I'm not going to remake them. Also, they're not part of like Disney's renaissance with remaking movies, so I'm not necessarily counting them. I'm pretty good with this ranking. I feel like the Jungle Book right here is like a good spot. Like I know I was on the fence with it, but I feel like having it right here is a good spot. Obviously, Maleficent and Cruella are in good spots. Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Alice in Wonderland, Mufasa, Looking Glass, Mistress of Evil, Lilo and Stitch, Jungle Book, and then like Snow White, Little Mermaid, Lady and the Tramp, Christopher Robin, Peter and Wendy, Dumbo, and Pinocchio, and then Lion King, Aladdin, and Mulan. I feel like all of these are pretty good rankings of like how I like the movies. So it took me an hour and 14 minutes to get through that. I am so sorry it took so long. Um if I remembered more about like Lady and the Tramp, Christopher Robin, Peter and Wendy, and Dumbo and Pinocchio, I'm sure it would have been longer. But, like, since they all like, I don't have any, like, key details that, like, stick out to me other than, like, a few actors in the movie, I just kind of, like, all put them in the totally misguided movie spot ranking spot. And I really like these, like, monthly hangs where it's like I get to, like, chat with you guys and, um, you get to see, like, current me because the videos I'm releasing, they're not current me. They're currently from, like, 2022. So, like, which I'm almost done with the 2022 videos. I believe I have a couple more from 2022, and then we're going to move into videos from 2023. I'm trying to find my notes app where I have, my YouTube videos. Yeah, okay, so for 2022, I only have 3 more videos. I have or 4 more videos technically, because 2 of them are merch videos, like, I think me unboxing merch, so those are gonna be separate, and then I lost the Ticketmaster War Part 1 and 2. Oh, I guess it's 5 videos, and then what songs I want to see on the set list for the Eras Tour, and so I'm gonna 3 of those are gonna come out next month. And then at the end of the month, I'm gonna do another live because I love these monthly, like, catch-ups. Um, if I didn't already have, like, something to talk about for this live, like me ranking the movies, I would have 100% talked about, um, Taylor Swift performing in Nashville because, like, hello? Like, I need to have a freak out about that, but it's like, I don't have the time. It's almost an hour and 17 minutes. Um, so with that being said, I my Bejeweled Easter egg video and another video I recently posted, they haven't been getting as much views as my other videos. Like they haven't even hit double digits. My most recent video I uploaded on Sunday that only has like 4 views. So please go watch those videos as you wait for the next video to come out. If you reach the end of the video, make sure you come back, have it on in like the background, and just let it play because views after the live is over is more important than like as I'm live. And so I would really appreciate if you guys would come back, like the video, comment on the video. Um I told you guys like upcoming videos. Um I'm pretty shocked with like the video that I posted on Sunday this week, that's like the only video where I haven't posted on a Friday. But, like, I've been pretty consistent with, like, posting on Fridays, and, like, I'm, like, very proud of myself for that. Um, take a drink of water every time I say, like, or "What are we doing?" Take a drink of water every time you hear me say those words. But with that being said, I'm going to end the video. I want to thank everybody that watched the live, whether that was for, like, a couple minutes or, like, a couple of seconds. Thank you also for Madison for chatting in the chat because I love when I go live and I can, like, talk with people. And yeah, I can literally hear my voice going out, so I'm gonna go. I am gonna go do a DoorDash order because I have like a coupon for that, and I want snacks, and I'm gonna get snacks, and I'm also gonna get like lunch, even though it's like 2:30, and like it won't be here until like what 3:30. But with that being said, I will see you guys next month because it's already June 27th, so I won't have a video out until next Friday. So bye.